Something unusual happens in your body when a tiny amount of a certain natural powder enters your system. A hidden switch flips. A slow, silent process begins. And some scientists believe this process can clean up damaged cells, refresh your tissues, and support longevity without any fasting at all. Today, we are going to talk about a small dose that claims to unlock one of the most powerful biological repair mechanisms known, autophagy. People usually chase autophagy by skipping food for hours or even days. But this video explores a surprising idea spreading across health circles that only 1/4 teaspoon of a specific compound might help activate cellular cleansing. It sounds bold, it sounds dramatic, and yes, it sounds a little too good to accept without questions. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes you will learn the full story behind this claim. You will discover how autophagy actually works inside the body, why it is connected to aging, energy, and long-term health, and why some researchers believe certain natural compounds can nudge this system into action even when you are not fasting. You will hear about a molecule that most people have never heard of, yet it appears in some of the world's longest living communities. You will learn how it interacts with your cells, how it may influence the cleanup cycle, and why it has become a topic of intense scientific interest. We will also break down the claim itself. The idea that only a tiny pinch is enough to supercharge autophagy. You will learn how this idea started, how much of it is based on real research and which parts are exaggerated by online hype. You will see where the science is strong, where the studies are still early, and what is actually realistic for normal people. Most importantly, you will understand whether this so-called shortcut can offer benefits without replacing the deeper lifestyle habits your cells depend on. Because autophagy is not magic. It is a natural biological system that responds to many signals: diet, minerals, stress levels, physical activity, and certain compounds found in foods. In this video, you will find out whether a simple 1/4 teaspoon dose is enough to create a meaningful signal, and whether this trick is worth adding to your routine. By the end, you will know the truth behind this trending claim. You will know the science, the limitations, and the hidden details no one mentions, and you will be able to decide for yourself whether this natural compound belongs in your daily life, or whether it is just another shortcut that sounds better than it works. This video is designed to give you clarity. It is packed with lesser-known research, surprising facts, and a breakdown that cuts through the noise. So make sure you stay until the last minute, because the most important part comes near the end, when we reveal how this tiny amount may influence a major pathway inside your cells. Welcome to our channel. If you enjoy simple, science-based explanations that help you take control of your health, make sure to subscribe and join us. Autophagy is one of the body's most fascinating repair systems, and it works quietly inside every cell you have. In simple terms, it is a process where your cells break down old, damaged, or weak parts and recycle them into fresh building blocks. Think of it as your body's internal cleanup and renewal system. When autophagy is active, your cells remove waste, clear out dysfunctional structures, and rebuild themselves with stronger components. This process keeps your cells efficient, balanced, and healthier over time. Researchers describe autophagy as a survival response, something your body uses to stay strong during times of stress or limited resources. When nutrients are low, or when your body senses certain signals, autophagy increases to protect your organs and maintain optimal function. The benefits of this process are wide-ranging. By clearing damaged proteins and worn-out organelles, autophagy supports overall cell health and reduces the burden of cellular waste. This is important because the buildup of cellular debris is linked with aging, inflammation, and a long list of chronic problems. Some scientists believe active autophagy may help slow aspects of aging by keeping cells younger on the inside. It also appears to play a role in protecting the brain by removing harmful protein fragments that tend to accumulate with age. This cellular cleansing effect may support memory, focus, and long-term brain function. Autophagy also influences metabolic health. When cells recycle their old components, they become more efficient at producing energy. This can support a healthier metabolism, improve how the body handles stress, and help maintain balance across different systems. Another important area where autophagy plays a role is immunity. When autophagy is active, immune cells can remove invading particles more effectively. They also use this process to detect and break down internal threats, helping the body stay resilient. This is one of the reasons why researchers have become so interested in finding natural ways to support this pathway. Traditionally, the strongest trigger for autophagy has been fasting. When you stop eating for several hours, your body begins shifting its focus away from digestion and toward repair. Calorie restriction can also activate autophagy, as can certain diet patterns that lower insulin and glucose spikes. Exercise is another well-known trigger. Intense or prolonged physical activity places healthy stress on cells, encouraging them to activate autophagy to rebuild and strengthen themselves afterward. These traditional methods show how responsive autophagy is to lifestyle choices. Your cells are constantly evaluating their environment, and even small changes in eating habits or activity levels can influence how active this cleansing process becomes. In recent months, a bold claim has been circulating across health channels and wellness discussions. It centers around the idea that only 1/4 teaspoon of a particular natural powder can supercharge autophagy without the need for fasting, calorie restriction, or any major lifestyle change. The idea is simple, dramatic, and extremely tempting. Take a tiny dose of a powder and trigger one of the most powerful cellular repair processes in the body. This claim appears in many viral titles and short health clips, often presented as a quick and easy shortcut to internal cleansing and longevity. The promise is that such a small amount is enough to activate the same cellular pathways that people normally work hard to stimulate through long fasting windows. Many creators describe this powder as a natural compound found in certain foods and traditional remedies. Some say it can help switch on the cellular cleanup machinery almost instantly, allowing your body to recycle damaged fragments and support cell renewal with very little effort. Because autophagy is such a complex process, the idea that a tiny measurement could influence it so strongly captures attention immediately. People love the possibility of achieving results without the struggle of skipping meals or restructuring their entire diet. This type of claim spreads quickly because it offers simplicity. It suggests that the heavy lifting can be done by a convenient ingredient rather than discipline or habit changes. In wellness communities where people are always searching for the next breakthrough, it is easy for such statements to gain traction. The language used in these claims often sounds scientific, mentioning cellular pathways, recycling mechanisms, or natural compounds with special properties. This can make the message feel credible, even when the details are vague. However, the idea of a single small dose producing such a powerful effect raises important questions. Any claim that a 1/4 teaspoon can dramatically influence cellular repair needs to be approached carefully. Autophagy is not controlled by one simple switch. It is shaped by many signals, including nutrient levels, hormone responses, cellular stress, and energy balance. Suggesting that a tiny amount of powder can override these signals without context creates a picture that may not match how the body actually works. This is why it is important to view such statements with a balanced mindset. Viral claims are often designed to attract attention rather than reflect the full scientific reality. before accepting the idea that a small quantity of a mysterious powder can replace established triggers like fasting or exercise. It is necessary to consider what research supports the claim, what is still theoretical, and what might be exaggerated for appeal. Scientific interest in autophagy has grown rapidly in the last decade, and researchers have been exploring whether certain natural compounds might activate this process without the need for strict fasting. Among all the candidates studied so far, spermidine stands out as one of the most promising. Spermidine is a natural polyamine found in foods such as wheat germ, mushrooms, soy products, and some fermented items. It is also produced in small amounts by the body. What makes spermidine important is its connection to cellular renewal, longevity pathways, and protection against age-related decline. Several scientific papers highlight that higher spermidine intake is associated with improved cell health and longer lifespan in various experimental models. This has led to significant interest in whether spermidine could support autophagy even without major dietary restrictions. Research suggests that spermidine influences specific regulatory components inside the cell. Instead of relying on the calorie shortage signal that fasting provides, spermidine appears to interact with molecular pathways that tell the cell when to begin the cleanup and recycling cycle. In several lab studies, spermidine supplemented at appropriate levels has been shown to increase markers of autophagy. What makes this interesting is that the effect occurs even when the subjects are not fasting. This indicates that spermidine may act as a direct signal for cellular renewal, potentially offering a different route to trigger these mechanisms. This discovery has become a major reason why spermidine is often mentioned in discussions about non-fasting autophagy support. Beyond spermidine, researchers have also looked at other natural compounds. Some plant extracts, antioxidants, and bioactive molecules appear to influence autophagy pathways in early studies. Curcumin, found in turmeric, is one of the most widely discussed in several animal experiments. Curcumin has been linked to increased activity in cellular cleaning pathways and improved removal of damaged structures. Other compounds found in green tea, berries, and certain herbs have also attracted interest for similar reasons. These findings add to the idea that nutrients and plant compounds can interact with the body's internal repair processes. However, most of the research in this area is still in early stages. Many of the strongest results come from laboratory experiments, cell cultures, or animal studies, where researchers can control conditions very precisely. Human studies are limited, and the doses used in lab models are often different from what a person might consume in daily life. Because of this, it is difficult to say with certainty how strong the effect is in real-world conditions. The idea that a very small amount of a powder can dramatically activate autophagy comes mostly from interpretations of these early findings rather than large long-term clinical trials. If the powder being discussed truly contains a meaningful amount of spermidine or a similar compound, it could offer some support to the body's natural autophagy processes. Spermidine has shown potential in controlled studies, and when combined with a generally healthy lifestyle, it may create the right internal environment for cells to renew themselves more effectively. This does not mean it can trigger a dramatic response on its own, but it may play a small role in nudging certain pathways in the right direction. When a person maintains balanced eating habits, moves regularly, and manages stress, adding a spermidine-rich ingredient could contribute to the background signals that encourage autophagy. In this sense, the powder might help, but only as part of a larger picture. At the same time, it is important to understand the limits of what one substance can do. Autophagy is not a single switch that turns on fully or turns off completely. It is a layered system controlled by energy balance, nutrient availability, hormonal signals, cellular stress, and internal communication between different organelles. Fasting affects many of these signals at once, which is why it remains one of the most powerful activators of autophagy. Expecting a single compound to recreate the same effect skips over the complexity of the process. Even if a powder influences one part of the system, it cannot replace the coordinated response that occurs during a fasting window or after structured lifestyle habits. There is also the issue of safety. Autophagy is beneficial when balanced, but like many biological processes, too much activation or the wrong kind of activation can create problems. Some research points out that excessive autophagy or poorly regulated autophagy may damage healthy tissues or disrupt normal cellular function. While these effects are not common in everyday life, they become more relevant when people experiment with supplements that have not been studied thoroughly in humans. Using compounds in high amounts or without proper understanding can introduce risks that are not obvious at first glance. Another important point is that no widely accepted evidence shows a tiny amount of any powder can fully replace fasting for autophagy in human beings. Much of the excitement around these powders comes from early scientific findings or interpretations that do not always match real-world conditions. Human metabolism is influenced by timing, diet, sleep, genetics, and daily habits. A small dose of any ingredient cannot override all these factors. Even if the powder contains beneficial compounds, it should not be viewed as something that can provide a complete shortcut to deep cellular renewal. When looking at the idea of activating autophagy with a small amount of powder, it helps to separate what is actually possible from what is exaggerated for attention. Supplements and natural compounds can play a supportive role in cellular health. Compounds like spermidine, certain polyphenols, and antioxidants found in plants may help create a favorable environment for autophagy to function. These substances can influence signaling pathways, reduce oxidative stress, and offer nutrients that cells use during repair. When paired with habits that already support cellular renewal, such as balanced eating, regular movement, steady energy intake, and proper sleep, they can add a subtle boost. In this sense, it is realistic to say certain nutrients might assist the process, but they work best as part of a larger lifestyle framework rather than as standalone solutions. The hype begins when these ingredients are marketed as powerful shortcuts that can replace deeper habits. Claims that a tiny dose can unlock full autophagy benefits sound exciting, but they do not reflect how the body operates. Autophagy responds to complex physiological signals, not to single inputs. It is influenced by energy availability, hormonal patterns, mitochondrial function, and cellular stress levels. No supplement can instantly override all these factors. Popular health claims often turn one early research finding into a dramatic message that spreads quickly on social platforms, even when the real effect is much more subtle. When a claim suggests that a small amount of powder can match the effects of long fasting windows, energy restriction, or intense exercise, it is usually an oversimplification built to attract viewers. Another issue is that marketing tends to focus on the exciting parts while ignoring context. Many of the compounds discussed in autophagy research have shown promise, but much of that promise comes from animal studies, isolated cell experiments, or doses that differ from what people normally consume. When these details are removed, the message becomes more magical than scientific. People hear that something activates autophagy and assume it can fully replicate deeper biological responses, even when that is not supported by evidence. This is where expectations can drift far away from realistic outcomes. The healthier approach is to see supplements as potential additions to a strong foundation. Supporting autophagy in daily life depends on stable habits, nutrient quality, portion control, metabolic balance, consistent physical activity, and restorative sleep. These habits send reliable signals that the body understands. Natural compounds can complement these signals, but they cannot replace them. Instead of treating powders as shortcuts, they make more sense as small tools that work in harmony with lifestyle choices that already encourage cellular maintenance and stability. Autophagy remains one of the most important renewal systems in the body, a natural process that clears out damaged parts of cells and gives them the chance to rebuild stronger. It supports energy, longevity, and overall cellular stability. Research into compounds like spermidine shows real potential, and the idea that certain nutrients may gently support autophagy without long fasting windows is grounded in early scientific findings. These discoveries are exciting and worth paying attention to. But the larger claim that a simple quarter teaspoon of an unspecified powder can unlock the full power of autophagy goes far beyond what current science can confirm. Autophagy responds to multiple biological signals, not single shortcuts. While certain compounds may help nudge the process, they cannot replace everything that happens when the body enters a fasted state or follows consistent supportive habits. The truth is far more balanced than the dramatic titles suggest. If you want to support your body's natural repair systems, the most reliable approach is still a holistic one. Eat nutrient-rich foods, move your body regularly, manage stress, and prioritize sleep. These habits work together to create the internal conditions where autophagy can function at a healthy level. Supplements can be part of the journey, but they should be used with awareness, not as replacements for the foundations that truly matter. Maybe a powder provides a small benefit, but long-term health always comes from steady choices, not shortcuts. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more science-based guidance delivered in a simple, clear way.